A lot of us would agree with some of the things Andrew Tate says, which, if we're being honest, if someone made the same statements before the world went woke, nobody would have batted an eye. Now the things which Christians disagree with Andrew Tate are plenty. From how he made his big sum of money through the webcam business, how he preaches a distorted masculinity, how he speaks of the family unit and having multiple wives whilst cheating on them, how he promotes materialism, how he endorses pride. All of these would be fair enough topics to talk about in this video, which I'm not going to. Rather, I want to focus on his utter blindness when speaking about Christianity. Let's get into the video. Now, this topic of Andrew Tate, it's always been a popular one. People like hating him, they like loving him. He's a very polarizing character. And as I stated in the intro, there's a lot of things that as Christians we can talk about, what he's done wrong, what he endorses, all these things that it's quite easy to talk about. However, what I can't stand about him is this one thing. Now, picture yourself, let's say you're in your 20s, you're a young man, and you have your best mates around you. You guys live in Eastern Europe, you have millions of dollars, right? You're driving around in supercars, you're going to different monasteries, you're talking to monks, there's beautiful churches to go to. For someone like me and you, we will be living the dream. We will be absolutely loving that life. And Andrew Tate does that. Andrew Tate experiences Eastern European culture. Andrew Tate lives in Romania. He sees what Eastern European culture is like as a Western man. He's half British, half American. What really would frustrate me when I would watch Andrew Tate on these podcasts is he would sit there, he would badmouth Christianity and talk up Islam. He would put up Christianity as a type of weak faith, a faith where people will change the rules to society's norms, that we would bend and twist and just want to appease people. Now he would hold up Islam on the other hand and say, look at Islam, they don't change for anyone. And so I would say that's fair enough. If Andrew Tate never lived in Romania, if he never experienced Eastern Europe or any sort of country that is directly influenced by Orthodox Christianity, I would say fair enough. He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what Orthodoxy does to a culture. If you live in America, what do you know about Orthodoxy? You wouldn't know about it. There's a few people that go to Orthodox churches, but as a nation, America is very new to Orthodoxy. So is Australia, so is, Britain. All these countries don't really know about Orthodoxy, which is fair enough. However, he's making these statements as someone that lives in an Eastern Orthodox country. I don't know what the percentage is of the Romanian Orthodox faithful in Romania, but it would have to be big. So my bone to pick is he knew what Eastern Orthodoxy was like. He would say all these things. I remember a podcast he was saying that in Romania, the streets are so safe that a girl can walk home at 3 a.m. in a miniskirt and no one would touch her. So you understand the fruits of Orthodox Christianity in a society. You understand how it changes the way people deal with each other and the cultural significance of just being cultural Christians. Not even highly religious people, just cultural Christians. There's a sort of norm embedded into society. There's these things are frowned upon, these things are accepted, these things are praised, these things are good, these things are not good. These things we should stay away from. Even if we don't read the Bible every day, we have these norms embedded into an Eastern European culture. And this is why it upset me a lot. He would sit there and conflate orthodoxy. He would just bunch all Christians up into Protestantism. Protestants are the ones that do all these things. You talk to monks. You would drive up to a monastery, walk around. You would talk to, priests. You knew that orthodoxy is ancient. Orthodoxy is apostolic. If that's all you knew, that's good enough to understand that Orthodoxy is completely separated. Nothing to do with the Protestants. the ones that you're putting crap on, the ones that you're talking about changing rules around and having homosexual priests and those sort of things, that's got nothing to do with the Orthodox Church. We don't have any female clergy, yet alone homosexual. What do you mean? That's nothing to do with us. Yeah, on these podcasts, on these big platforms, you were conflating Protestantism, Western Christianity with Eastern Orthodoxy. That was really upsetting. That was really upsetting, and he wasn't being honest. And so now, think about how blind he is. Think about how blind he is. He lives in a country that is Orthodox. He sees the fruits of orthodoxy. Yet for some reason, which I'll get into my opinion, for some reason, he was choosing to enter Islam. Now, as we know, Tristan Tate is still Christian. Tristan Tate has not become Muslim. So Andrew Tate, eventually, we see the video of him taking the Shahada. Like, I was looking at it and saying, why is this guy going to Islam? But it made sense. He had a lot of connections in Dubai, a lot of Muslims, and this was all a money grab. He was getting a huge chunk of the population of, young Muslim men to also be on his side to support Tate. More or less, these were business connections. This was all money motivated. Now, did he go and study Islam? Does he know anything about it? Does he read any hadiths? Of course not. He's too busy living the same lifestyle. Maybe he gave up alcohol. I think he actually did. However, he's living the exact same lifestyle. And that's what I think. He looked at Islam. He said, this won't change the way I live. This won't make me need to give up material and sacrifice and become legitimately a humble person. No, this allows me to have this label of I'm religious because I don't associate with those atheist dumbasses. I'm religious, they're dumb. And I get to have a whole new audience into my brand. I think that was the underlying reason he went to Islam. Orthodoxy, if he went to the Orthodox Church and he had genuine repentance, his life would become so much better, but he doesn't understand that. He doesn't understand how transforming Orthodoxy is and how beautiful your life becomes. Because having the Koenigsegg, the Bugatti, the Lamborghini, all these sort of cars, it doesn't matter. It is no longer what he's searching for. He's no longer pursuing these things. He can appreciate it. He can still own them. No one says you have to sell it. Unless he got it through corrupt means, then his priest would most likely say, you can't. If you got this by illegal means, then you're going to have to get rid of it as a sign of repentance. Zacchaeus had his money through unrighteous means, and he gave it back. That was his heart. His heart was convicting him to do this. The point is, he wouldn't have to give up. He wouldn't have to give up having things if he got it through normal means, through his now online business. However, he wouldn't be obsessed with those things. He would find this new treasure that he loves so much more. And in turn, his focus would shift. And as it shifted, he can still say that's an aesthetically pleasing car. That's a nice machine. It's fun to drive. But it's not my sole focus. It's not all I'm going to talk about, all I'm going to live for. There is more to this life. And I respect Tristan Tate for not becoming Muslim. Tristan Tate said that he was offered hundreds of millions to become Muslim, and he didn't. For me, that's quite a interesting. He sort of gave away the fact that his brother would have been offered money, because would Tristan Tate be the only one offered money? Of course not. Andrew Tate would have been offered money as well. And look, that's how that was what I wanted to talk about today. It was just upsetting that Andrew Tate would conflate all of Orthodoxy and Protestantism and say, that's why Christianity is stuffed. No, you can say, that's why Western Christianity is stuffed. That's why these guys are completely off the rails, but you live in an Orthodox country. You know what it's like there. You even enjoy the fruits of it. And yet your blindness, this is what pride does. The pride blinded Andrew Tate to looking into the true faith. His arrogance. God despises the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. God can't work with me if I have a proud heart. If I have a proud heart, if you're sick and you don't go to the doctor because you think, I don't need the doctor, how can the doctor make you well? Christ is the physician of our souls. And if we're not going to him for repentance, for a new life, for a new heart, then we're going to stay stuck in the same way. And that's what Andrew Tate is. He hasn't changed since he became Muslim. Did he change? Do any of these people change when they become Muslim? And I don't mean they change their knowledge. Perhaps they learnt a few things, but I'm talking about their character, their demeanor. When you look around at people who became Christian or became devout, maybe they were culturally Christian, but then they became devout, and you can see they're a completely different person. Did Andrew Tate change? Or did he stay the same, but he professes this faith? Which I see a lot of celebrities and rappers and all these people converting to Islam, they're exactly the same person, character-wise. And think about anyone that devoted their life to Christ. If anything, you need to calm them down. You need to hold up, man, hold up. Like, don't start your own church. Don't do this Protestant weed stuff. Like, you're the pastor now. No. Like, slow down. That's how much they love God. They want to tell everyone about him. They want to give up everything and this is my God. This is the most beautiful thing. Can you guys, like, give me a moment of your time so I can tell you about him? That's the change. So, as always, we should be praying for Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, celebrities in general, Even when you think about Joe Rogan, all these different people, if they became Christian, imagine how many people they could influence. And yeah, that goes for all celebrities. You always say a short prayer for celebrities. They have so much influence over millions of people. So I hope you like the video, guys. God bless you. I'll see you in the next one.